Hey, this is the Metal Jesus, and today I'm armed with my favorite PlayStation 2 light gun. And today I want to talk about some of my favorite PlayStation light gun games, so let's get started. So first up I want to talk about the light gun itself. This is the GunCon 2 by Namco, and Namco was nice enough to send me this as a review unit back in the day. They included it with Crysis III, and it's actually really well built. It's a nice controller, it fits really nicely in my hands. It's slightly smaller than the original. Right here you see the D-pad that's built into the back, which allows you to go through the menus and also control some of the games. It has A, B, and C buttons. The button is actually at the bottom of the gun. And then it also has the start and select, and a really nice trigger. Feels really good, really solid. This is a fun gun to use. Now the only real downside to this gun for all you collectors out there is just to be aware that as far as I can tell it does not work with current HD TVs. You need an old school tube TV to use this. And here really quick I just want to show the calibration method, and notice how similar it is in tracking to the Wii. It's actually pretty spot on.
Crysis 2.
So the first game I'd like to show you is Crysis II. This game started as an arcade game and then was ported to the PlayStation 2 in 2001. It's an on-rail shooter. Now what that means is you don't control the forward movement in the game, but instead you're automatically moved from scene to scene as you clear all the bad guys. Each scene has a 40-second time limit, so you can't dally too much. Crysis is known for their duck and shoot mechanic. What that means is that you start every scene behind cover, and then you basically pop out and shoot the bad guys, and then you go back to cover and either reload or change your weapons. It's very strategic, and you need to be careful with it, otherwise you get shot like I just did there. Now this game has some of the cheesiest dialogue I've heard in a long time. I mean, it's bad, but it's bad in a good way, because this is just like a Steven Seagal movie. I mean, you know, it's so bad it's good. Vampire Knight is another arcade port that came out in 2001, but this time by Sega. This game feels a lot like Crysis, but it's different in a couple respects. The first difference with Vampire Knight is the high level of precision needed for your shooting compared to Crysis. In this game, you need to hit very small targets on the bodies of enemies to sometimes kill them quickly. Also, there are these little bastards that zigzag back and forth that are a pain in the ass to shoot. It's fun though. Also, this game doesn't have the duck mechanic, which makes it a much more sort of run and gun kind of shooting game. And as a matter of fact, to reload, you simply just hammer a button and you instantly reload. It's really nice.
We're here at last.
Yes. How long I've waited for this moment.
And then finally, oh my god, the story and dialogue in this game, it's bad.
Who shall live and who shall die?
Looks like nothing survived here, too.
So next up is Resident Evil Dead Aim. Now this game is part of the Gun Survivor series in Japan. And it's kind of unique compared to the other games I've shown you because it actually features a third-person perspective for movement. But then it switches to a first-person view when you shoot. Now this game really looks and feels like a traditional old-school Resident Evil game. And it does this by basically using all the functions of the GunCon 2, including the little D-pad which allows for movement. Now it's not perfect, but it works okay. So I guess what I would say about Dead Aim is that, you know, it doesn't really do anything particularly well. It's an okay game. You know, it's not the most exciting light gun game. And as far as like a Resident Evil game, again, it's just kind of okay. It doesn't really fit into the main story or bring anything new. But if you are a fan of light gun games on the PlayStation 2, I mean, it's cheap and I think it's worth owning.
The Zagorian forces continue their invasion.
And then finally, my favorite light gun game, Crysis III. Crysis III was released by Namco in 2003, and like a good sequel, Namco took the best of all the other games and upped the ante with this one. The graphics are better, the shooting's better, the mechanics are more refined, and I hate to say it, but actually even the story and voice acting's better. For instance, now changing weapons in the game is super easy. Basically, when you're ducking, you simply click the trigger button to cycle through the different weapons that you have. That includes a handgun with unlimited ammo, fully automatic machine gun, there's a shotgun, and even a grenade launcher for maximum damage. However, my favorite aspect of this game is really just how interesting the level design is. You know, these light gun games are pretty simple, and so it's nice that Namco took the time to try to come up with interesting scenarios to battle your way through, whether it's on vehicles or even on top of a train. I mean, the boss battles are really cool, and it's just always something to discover. It's also worth noting that this game was actually released for the iPhone and is in the Apple App Store for only $3. So to recap, my favorite light gun games for the PlayStation 2 are Time Crisis 2, Vampire Knight, Resident Evil Dead Aim, and Time Crisis III. Now you may be asking yourself, why is this thing orange? Well, let me tell you, boys and girls, it's whenever the cops come in and kick in the door and your parents are making meth. They don't mistake this for something real and blow your head off.